Kimu SDC with you here today. And I gotta start it off with a PLH. Peace, love, and happiness with you all day, every day. Now today, we got something really good to talk about. And it's simply because of the fact that I see a lot of people doing this in a very drastic way. I'm not gonna say it's a wrong way. It's a drastic way in which they jumping from one extreme to the next extreme. And you can't do that because of the fact that there has to be some type of medium, some type of balance that you have to go from one extreme to the next. And that is the topic for today: how to become a vegan and how did I go on that process for my journey. So I got to start it off with the first one, which is, as I said, don't jump straight into veganism. If you have a meat and starch, or specifically just a meat-based diet, I always suggest to everybody, don't just jump into it, especially if you want to make it a permanent life eating habit, because of the fact of what I just said. If you go from, I'm eating chicken, fish, red meat, pork, and then you just go straight jump into, I'm vegan now. There was no segue period. There was no transition. So I definitely have to say, please don't jump into it. On my journey, I know that it took me 2 years. And 2 years isn't for everybody. Some people, if you're really determined to go straight into veganism, you take the necessary steps. But for me, it took 2 years because of the fact that it started when I first awakened my third eye. And at that point, I decided, okay, I'm going to cut out pork. I'm no longer eating pork. And then later along the line, I cut out red meat. Things were just happening without me making that conscious decision saying I'm going to become vegan. Really, I just became vegan just basically because that's the way that the universe wished to pull me. So I ended on being a pescatarian, and a pescatarian who didn't eat eggs and didn't eat cheese or dairy products, stopped buying honey and started getting agave and stevia. And then I just jumped into veganism and have been feeling great about it every single day. I feel great all day, every day. That's why I'm here in front of you with this great energy, so I could translate it over to you, and hopefully you give it back. I'll feel it. And then with that, when you don't just jump into it, you get that balance, you get that segue, and then you don't have to feel like you're not doing it right or you're flip-flopping because of the fact that you made such a drastic change. When you step into that, when you go from meat-based diet to straight veganism, you won't have that urge to go back and just jump between both lifestyles. So definitely, please don't jump into veganism because of those extremes. Now we go on to the next one. We gotta definitely talk about getting a fruit bowl. Getting a fruit bowl is a great idea because, and it has been scientifically proven that when you get a fruit bowl and make sure that it's available, like you can see it almost from every point, like put it in a room. Usually people put it in a dining room, like if they have a bar, they'll put it on the bar, or in the kitchen somewhere. A lot of people, I'm sure, go into their kitchen. So put it somewhere that is visible and you can definitely see it. Some people put it on the dining room table because it's readily visible. And it's been proven that because of the idea of availability, people will just gravitate towards the fruit bowl. It'll, in their mind, trigger when you're hungry or you want a snack, you know what? Because of the fact that I don't have to go into the cabinet and go get some junk food, the fruit is right here. Why would I make those extra steps to go into my cabinet and get some junk food where I could go right to my fruit bowl, which is sitting right in front of me, and just grab an apple, or orange, or banana, whatever fruit of your choice. So I would definitely suggest getting a fruit bowl. I didn't use a fruit bowl, but I was pretty much already in that eating lifestyle, that those eating habits of veganism. I just needed to make that jump. So definitely go out, get you a nice fruit bowl, make it look nice and pretty, get some feng shui with the colors in there, and enjoy your fruit, enjoy your produce. And then that's going to take us to the next one, which is actually probably one of the best, and it goes with the first one. Decrease the amount of meat that you eat per serving. If you want to really get a good balance into going from meat-based to plant-based or veganism, it's good that good medium balance is decreasing what you wish to get rid of, because then it'll help your palate adjust much better. So I know I was talking to somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm trying to do this vegan thing, but it's so hard. And I had to ask, what are you doing? Are you trying to just jump right into it? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, you can't do that. Like probably one of the best ways to do it is by decreasing that amount of meat that you're using. In the Western cultures, our meals focus more so on meat and starches, but in a lot of Eastern cultures, it's not so much focused on meat. They may have meat in their diet, but it's more heavily focused around the herbs and the plants and produce. So even if you have to get meat substitutes, do what you got to do. That's a great way to transition. If you got to do meat substitutes like tempeh, seitan, tofu, whatever meat substitutes are available, those are not bad ways to transition over either. I know occasionally I may eat tofu, and I know I didn't eat it as much in my transition because I like mushrooms. I actually like mushrooms. So that kind of gave me that I'm not eating meat, but I'm eating it's kind of the consistency. And a lot of people don't like mushrooms. Number one, because they just look weird. I know I talked to somebody and he said I will never eat a mushroom because it looked like, if it's on my plate, it looked like something that's just going to move and attack me. And of course, it sounds super funny. It's a guy that I used to work with, but it's okay to use those meat substitutes when you're transitioning because, like I said, you can't jump from one extreme to the next. So definitely go ahead and increase your produce intake and decrease your meat intake. And then that takes us to the next one, which is find out what you can do and what you can't do. I know a lot of people, they're not sure. They're not really sure what they can do or what they can't do. I've talked to a few people who are like, and I always ask them, well, what can you do? Because if you're starting from square one, in which you're eating all the meats, well, you kind of want to find out, okay, I could give up this right now. And I never tell anybody, well, give it all up. If you can give it all up, because you know yourself better than I know you. So if you can give it all up, then give it all up. But if you're the type of person who needs to give things up in a much gradual pace like I did, I gave up pork, then I gave up red meat, then I gave up poultry, then I gave up fish. If that's how you have to do it, then so be it. No one's judging you. You're making the right steps to heightening your frequency by going to a plant-based diet, getting rid of that acidosis that allows bacteria and viruses to fester inside of the body and causing disease within the body. So find out what you can and can't do. If you can't, maybe you're not, maybe you crave, I don't know, we're just going to pick one, chicken a lot. If you crave chicken a lot, that's okay. Maybe you can't give up chicken right now, but you can definitely make the transition by starting by giving up the other meats. You can give up fish. You can give up, maybe if you already don't eat fish, well, go to the next meat category. Red meats, pork, whatever the case may be. So just find out what you can and what you can't do. And then that takes us to the next one. And this one really helped me a lot because when I started doing this, it became a lot more easier. And that is fasting. Fasting is so important. And I'm not talking about fasting one side of the year. I'm not talking about my fast period is when I'm asleep. I'm legit talking about doing a daily fast. And I'm not talking about anything extreme because that sleep period is a fast period. But a lot of times what people do is they eat outside of optimal physical activity time. Our body begins to basically wind down and shut down at 7 p.m. So eating after 7 p.m. and especially in a society where most people get up early, it definitely doesn't allow our blood sugar to drop down to normal levels in enough time, because if we're eating after 7 p.m. and then we're waking up at 6 and we're eating at 7 or we're eating at 6, then our blood sugar has not reached a point of equilibrium. But fasting for me, it has helped me acquire a lot of self-discipline in which I was able to make a very smooth transition. Now at this point in my journey, because I fast on a regular basis, because I do approximately 24-hour fast, or I just eat when I'm hungry, or I more so just consume food when I'm hungry because I love my smoothies. I definitely got to do my smoothies. That's what gives me the other energy outside of the meal, outside of eating the meal. But you got to make sure you fast. Even if it's 12 hours, that's okay. Fasting is going to help you develop that self-discipline to make the transition much easier. I know when I really started getting into giving up meats, I did a 3-day fast, in which some people will call that a purge fast, in which I literally just drank water and chamomile tea for 3 days straight. Now, I'm definitely not advising you to do that unless you have somebody looking out for you, somebody in your presence to say, in which they're like, oh, okay, you gotta chill. You really gotta chill. Get some food because this ain't working. So I would definitely condone fasting. It makes the transition a whole lot easier. And also, another thing is, when you're coming off the fast, don't go for super heavy foods. It basically gets rid of the period that you fasted, because it allows you to put the toxins that you had in your body back into your body, which basically negates the entire purpose of fasting. But then that takes us to the next one, and that is understanding the purpose of you fasting. I mean, understanding the purpose of you becoming a vegan. A lot of people have trouble staying with it, and I've seen plenty of people who may be vegetarian and they say, I'm going back to eating meat. Apparently you lost your purpose. Apparently you didn't have a clear-cut purpose. It was probably a fad to you. If it's a fad, then you probably want to reorganize your thoughts and understand why you actually want to become a vegan. Because if you don't have purpose in doing so, then you're at some point you're going to go back. It's just going to be, you're not going to have that mental discipline. You're not going to feel good about your choice of becoming a vegan. I know when I became a vegan, I was dead on, because I knew we supposed to have a plant-based diet. I mean, that's what our body is built. That's what our body is made to do. It's to digest plants, produce. And when I realized that purpose, and my initial purpose was actually, I don't want to be on pills like my parents are, in which my great grandma at one point was taking 10 pills in one sitting. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be like that. I want to be 80 years old on a basketball court by myself, no mechanical devices helping me. And I want to be able to move like I'm 25. Okay, maybe that's a little bit drastic, but you get the picture. So definitely understand your purpose. Have a clear-cut purpose on why you want to become a vegan. Don't just do it because people are doing it. It's a cool thing to do, because that's not a solid reason. And then once you develop that solid reason, then we're going to go on to the next tip. And that is making sure that you keep your goal in mind. You got to keep your goal in mind. Once you find out what the purpose of you doing so is, keep that goal in mind. Don't stray away from the goal. You want to become a vegan. Envision that every day. Even you could go into the law of attraction and say, I am a vegan. What's going to happen? Well, you just sent that energy out into the universe. You just sent that vision out into the universe. What's going to happen? You're going to get that back. When you start saying those things like I am, and in this case, I am a vegan, you'll become a vegan. It will happen. It's going to take some time, but you gotta trust the process. That's how all journeys are. That's a journey. It's a process, but you have to always trust it. And where does trust in the process come from? You gotta trust yourself. So make sure that we definitely out here when we're on this vegan journey, and if you're transitioning, that you go through the process, you trust the process, and you keep that vision in mind, so that way you can look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm doing this because of so and so reason. And then that takes us to the final tip on how to become a vegan, and that is staying positive. Most important. That is the reason why I made it the last tip, because of the fact that we got to stay positive. In any journey in any process, any journey that we embark on, stay positive. Because if we stay positive, it goes through, it's going to happen. That's where the law of attraction once again comes in. When you send out that positive energy, reciprocation, you get that positive energy back. And definitely when you're being positive about the journey or the situation, then it just all works well. I know in my journey, it was a little rough staying positive, because I wouldn't jump back to eating meat, but I wouldn't be doing and taking the steps that I would have wanted to. And I had to realize that it's a journey. Stay positive. You're going to get to the point of where you want to be. You're going to get to, if I know I want to be practicing the Kemetic diet, I'm going to get to that point. I just got to keep practicing and practicing and practicing and staying positive. Continue to stay positive. Keep making sure that you're staying positive. Why? It's going to happen. Just got to trust the process. So remember, stay positive, be great. Great things will happen. Do great things. And then we're always going to be like, woo! Because at the end of the day, it's all about PLH. Peace, love, and happiness with you all day, every day. Kimu SDC with you all day, every day. Over and out. Peace.